Hello, my fabulous friends. Christy Graham from Graham's Royal Tea here. Graham's Royal Tea is a tea party venue located on Main Street in downtown Bothell, Washington, just outside of Seattle. We have a lot of fun here. If you purchased our at-home craft kit for fabulous Fascinators, you're in the right place. This tutorial will walk you through step by step how to create your own amazing piece of art that you can wear. So let's get started. And remember, this is fun and you're having it. All right, so let's get started. Here I have examples of two fascinators that I've already created, one in bright yellow and one in our violet purple. I'm going to walk you through step by step how to create each component. There's several different components that make this unit up. I'm going to teach you how to make the fascinator base, how to glue on the clip on the back so you can wear it. I'll teach you how to make this big fancy bow, how to make the large centerpiece rose, the two smaller roses, and how and where to place feathers and how to create these fun little feathery fringes to create a fabulous fascinator. So let's start first of all by unpacking your kit that you received. You should have a good length of 3-inch netting in whatever color you ordered. You should have a metal clip that will attach to the back so you can put it in your hair. You should have 2 felt circles that everything is going to be built on. You should have some plain feathers in the color that you ordered, some fancy polka dot feathers. You should have a heavy gauge needle. It's kind of hard to see since it's tiny, but this is a really heavy gauge needle with a large eye, so it's very easy to feed through the monofilament line that you should also have. Most people call this fishing line, but it's the technical term, I guess, is monofilament line. You should have all those things ready and set up to go when you begin your project. Now, a few things that you will definitely need that are not included are a good sharp pair of scissors, a measuring tape or a yardstick. You will need a hot glue gun and lots of glue sticks. I'd probably say you go maybe through 5 or 6 of these during your project, so you want to make sure you have plenty on hand. I highly recommend using a low temperature gun versus a higher temperature gun. A lot of the fancier guns are high temperature. This is just a really simple little mini gun with the appropriate glue. I like to use the low temperature because it doesn't burn your fingers as much. There'll be a lot of times when your fingers are touching the glue working on this particular project. I don't want you to burn yourself. If you don't have a gun, just go back to my website, order one, and I'll ship it to you. I have mini guns like this that are low temp and a bunch of glue guns that I can send directly to you. Okay, to begin the craft, what we're going to do is take the netting that you received in whatever color you chose, and we're going to cut several lengths that we're going to make up the different components of the fascinator. The first one you'll cut is 5 feet or 60 inches. Then you'll cut 3 feet or 36 inches. You'll cut 2 feet or 24 inches, and then you'll cut 2 1 foot or 12 inch lengths, okay? We're going to take one of the black felt circles, and we're going to take the 3 foot length that we cut. Make sure you don't get them mixed up because it will make a difference. And we're going to begin to use our hot glue gun. Make sure your hot glue gun is hot and up to temperature, and you have plenty of glue sitting aside so that you won't get distracted or have to go search some out. What we're going to do is begin by just bunching one of the ends of that 36-inch piece together, and we're just going to slather it with hot glue. Okay. I'm going to take that, and we're going to glue that to our black felt circle. Push it down with your thumb, and this is why I recommend using a low temperature gun, because you're going to have that hot glue on your fingers quite a bit during this project. So you want to make sure that it's not going to burn your fingers. So you're going to pinch that so that it's sticking well to that felt circle. Then you're going to take the side that's closest to the felt circle, and you're going to put your thumb on the glued section, and you're going to create about a 1 to 1.5 inch kind of pleat. And you're going to put that kind of halfway over that first glued section. You're going to get your hot glue gun, and you're going to glue under that fold of the pleat. Plenty of glue. and hold that down so that it secures itself. Okay, so you can see now that that's joined. Then you're going to put your thumb over that again, hot glue on my fingernails, and you're going to fold it again and create another pleat, pretty good sized pleat there, and you're going to cover up half of that other pleat that you just did. Oops, slipped. Okay, and then you're going to put glue under that pleat and hold that down again so it's well secured. We're going to repeat this process over and over again until we get all the way around the black circle. Okay, so you're going to fold and pleat. Okay, covering up that half of that last pleat. We're going to put glue under that. We're going to push down to secure that. Okay, and then we're going to keep going. So pinch it, pleat it back. Okay, so you got that pleat. Put the glue under it. Hold it down to make sure it's nice and secure. And as I said, you're going to go all the way around until you get close to the end. So just keep going. I'm going to fast forward through here. Feel free to stop the tutorial if you need to and catch up with me when we get to the end of the circle. Okay, now we're about to the end. We're about to join our two sides. If you have extra fabric left, that's fine. That's actually what you're supposed to have. And what we're going to do is try to get one more pleat in there so it gets right up next to, kind of over that first section that we glued on. So this gets a little tricky because it's a little crowded in there, but we're going to do one more pleat. I might actually be able to do two. So we're going to hold it down as we have been the whole time. Okay. Any strings of glue that are on the netting, try to get those off before they really kind of adhere. Little spider webs of glue. Let's see if I can do one more pleat. I think I can. Yeah, I'm going to go right on top of that first section. So now I'm going to be covering up that kind of fringe that I attached originally. Okay. Okay. Now you should have something about like that. Okay. There is some ribbon left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off some of that excess ribbon. I've got a rogue piece wanting to come loose, so I'm going to glue that a little bit more again right there. Okay. So now be careful in the way that you trim. You want to give yourself some room. So I'm just going to cut off just about the extra inch or so that I have there. And I'm going to take that end piece and I'm going to squish it together like I did on the beginning. Okay, so here's your back. Has a little bit of an indent there, but we're going to take that piece and we're going to glue that on, okay? Of course, I'm running out of hot glue right there. Okay, and you're going to push that down. Make sure that's secured. And we're good. It's fine that you have this little bit of a gap in the circle, okay? Make sure that that is adhered well. So this is what you should have. Kind of looks like a water lily shape, okay? So you have this disc. There you go. You have your Fascinator base all ready for the next component. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is work on the bow. So we're going to start with threading the fishing line through the eye of that heavy gauge needle that's in your kit. Okay, pull through about 2 feet and double it over. So you've got about 2 feet doubled, so it's actually 4 feet long. We're going to take that and we're going to tie a knot in the end. Okay. And I'm going to do it again just to make sure it's secure. All right. And now I'm going to trim off that excess on the fishing line. Okay. We're going to set that aside because we need that in just a few minutes. We're going to take that 5-foot long length of the netting that you have, and you want to take your ruler or measuring tape, whatever you have, and you want to do about 6 inches, a little bit under 6 inches, and you're going to fold it over on itself to that 6-inch point, okay? And then you're going to fold it over again on itself, and you want to go just a little bit past that 6-inch point, so it's about 6.5 inches, and I'll show you what I mean in just a second here. So you've got your first layer, you've got your second layer that's a little bit longer, okay? You do the same thing on the other side, fold it so it's just a little bit past that first fold. You do it again, you're going to go just a little bit past it again. So now you have 1, 2, 3, and you fold it back on itself again. So now both sides have 3 folds, and then they both have the tail, one on top, one on the bottom, okay? So with the shortest pieces on top, okay, this is the top of our bow, the big ones are the bottom of the bow. We're going to squinch that together, which is easier said than done, I know. But we want to make sure that's right in the center of that bow. We want to kind of fold that together, okay? Right in the middle. Make sure it's not lopsided, because you don't want a lopsided bow there, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to hold on tight with one hand, and we're going to take that fishing line that we prepared with the other. We're going to go through all of the layers of that bow, and I'm going to go through between the 2 pieces of the haft thread, between that, by that knot, just to secure it, okay? And then I'm going to pull tight with that line, and I'm going to wrap around the center of the bow, pulling tight. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to feed it, hold on tight, I'm going to feed it through all layers again to kind of get that bow the way we want it, okay? And I'm going to do it again because we want to make sure that's really secure. I'm going to wrap around 2, 3, 4 times. 1, 2, 3. We're going to go through again. And again. And I'll do it one more time just for a good measure. One more time. Again. Okay, so as I'm pulling it this time, I'm going to put my finger in that loop before it's tightened. I don't know if you can see that because it's clear. I'm going to put my finger in there. Then I'm going to pull my finger out and thread my needle in that loop and then pull really tight. That will kind of secure it down, okay? And then at the end of that line, I'm going to just hit it with a tiny bit of glue. I don't want to make a big glob of glue, but I do want to make sure that that piece stays put. Kind of around the back of the bow, okay? Alrighty. Alrighty, so now we have this lovely bow, gorgeous. I'm going to trim off that line really close. And there you have your gorgeous bow, okay? What I'm going to do now is cut off the excess, some of the excess tail, not a lot of it, but I want the tail to be even with that first bow section, okay? I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to do the same thing. I want that to be even with the other parts of the bow. I don't want it sticking out beyond the bow. Okay? Now this is kind of fun. We're going to create a fringe. So you're going to take that tail, okay? and you're going to hold on to the ribbon, the netting, and you're going to begin to just pull it apart. I usually pull from the center and pull out. Might be a little hard to see, but I'm going to pull that from the one side and then the other. I'm intentionally pulling this apart. I'm intentionally fraying the ends of that ribbon, of that netting, okay? I'm just keep pulling it apart, pulling it apart. I don't know if you can see this yet, but see, it's creating a fringe of that netting, okay? I'm going to keep going until I get it down kind of almost to the base of the bow. Just going to pull it apart. Fray that so it's a big, long, fringy, kind of feathery. Okay, just keep pulling it apart. Just kind of combing through it with my fingers. Okay, so now you've got this weird little fringy thing, okay? I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to do the same thing with the other tail. Okay, I'm going to start with the center. I'm going to pull it apart. Pull it apart. Keep going. Okay, now that you have it all kind of separated and pulled apart, if there are some weird ends that are really bent funny, I'm going to trim those just a little bit and give them a little bit of a haircut so they're not going off in funky directions, just a little bit neater. Okay, same thing with the other side. I'm going to hold on to that fringe. Okay, make sure it's all separated out well. But I don't like this kind of really sharply bent end, so I'm just going to trim those ends off, give it a haircut. Make just a little neater, a little more intentional. So you should have a frayed fringe on the top and a frayed fringe on the bottom of that bow, okay? And there you have it, beautiful. We're going to set that aside and move on to our next component, okay? Okay, the next piece we're going to do is the centerpiece, the biggest rose. I will tell you, this is probably the most challenging piece in the whole Fascinator. So have some patience with yourself. If your fingers get a little tired, a little sore, I'm there with you, mine do too. The first thing I want you to do is take more of that fishing line and unspool about 6 feet. You're going to feed it through the needle, you're going to double it, so you're going to have about 3 feet of working length. And you're going to tie a knot in the end and snip off the end of the line like you did on the last piece, okay? We're going to take the 28-inch piece of netting. I'm going to set this needle and thread aside so it's really convenient there. I'm going to fold this in half, and we're going to be working with it the entire time folded in half to create a rose. I want you to bend down the beginning so you have about an inch tail folded past the edge of the ribbon, okay? About an inch. You want to make sure, and this is the challenging part, make sure that that stays folded. We are now going to roll it on itself just once or twice, okay? And you're going to create the center of the rose. And you have this little tail. You're going to take that needle and thread, that needle and line, you're going to feed it through all layers of that rolled up netting. I'm going to feed it through the 2 halves of the monofilament line, and I'm going to pull tight to secure it, okay? Pull tight to secure it. I'm going to wrap it around 1, 2, 3 times, just like the bow, okay? Hold on to that tightly. And I'm going to feed it through all layers of the netting again. 1 and 2. Okay. Alrighty, so now we have basically the stem of the rose and the very center of it. Alright, so the needle and thread are now going to be attached, and you're going to continue to work with it. What we're going to do is we're going to pleat, sort of like we did with the base. We're going to go past the stem, and we're going to create kind of a pinch pleat, okay? And we're going to take our needle and thread, and we're going to we're going to go through all layers again, once, and then we're going to wrap around once, twice, pick up the needle and thread, go through again, try not to poke yourself with the needle. Wouldn't be the first time if I did that. Okay, we're going to pull that through, we're going to secure that. So now you can see how we're starting the center of the rose, okay? We're going to do it again. We're going to keep this folded. That's the important part too. Keep that folded. We're going to kind of wrap it past the base a little bit, okay? We're going to fold that, okay? We're going to hold on. We're going to go through all layers of that kind of what we have kind of a center post now and that pleat. Make sure you're getting through that pleat, okay? Then we're going to wrap it around. 1, 2, and we're going to go through all layers, that post in the center now, and all layers of that pleat. Okay, so now you can see we're getting a little bit further with the center of our rose. Okay, going to do it again. We're going to go a little bit past it. Going to keep that folded in half. We're going to go a little past the center with that fold, and then we're going to pinch it to the center. I'm going to go through that center and through that new pleat, that new fold. Make sure you've got all layers in there. Okay. Wrap 1, 2. Hold on to it. Go through again. It's starting to get a little tough there, I know. Your fingers might start to hurt a little bit. I'm going to push on the table just to get my needle through this time because it's getting a little harder for me. My hands aren't as strong as they used to be. And I'm going to pull. For some reason mine does not want to pull through right now. I'm going to pull through all of that. Okay. There we have it. So you can see we're getting a little bit further with the formation of our rose. And we're just going to continue to do that. So we're going to fold past, we're going to keep it folded in half. Then we're going to create a pleat or a fold just past the center. Okay, we're going to wrap that around. Hold tight in one hand. It's in my left hand since I'm right-handed using the needle and thread in my right hand. I'm going to feed through that center. Make sure I catch that new fold, that new pleat. Pull through tightly. Got some of my tail in there this time, which I don't want. There we go. We're going to wrap around. 1, 2. Sorry, getting confused there. 1, 2. We're going to feed through. This kneaded up. Okay. We're going to again feed through the center. Make sure you're catching that pleat. And we're going to pull all the way through again. Okay. Sorry, mine's just being a little more stubborn than I want it to be. Okay. All right, so you've got that. So you're going to keep going all the way around. So just keep going, and then we can kind of catch up with each other in a few minutes, okay? So got a pretty good size rose there. We've got 1, 2, 3 layers on the outside. You've got quite a bit of material left. If you want to keep going and creating a larger rose, go for it. I am probably going to stop where I am. I'm running out of line, which is not a problem. What you can do if you run out of line and you just start again, you just hit, once you make sure that everything's attached really well, you just hit the end of that little bit right there. Make sure it's secure. And then you cut your line and you can start a new one by knotting, etc., like we did last time, okay? But I'm going to stop. I'm okay. I'm good with this size of rose, okay? I'm going to cut off my tail. I'm going to give myself about, I don't know, 1.5 inches or so extra, okay? So you've got your rose with your tail. And I'm going to do with the tail like I did with the bow. I'm going to fringe it by pulling it at the center, pulling it out. Okay, just a little bit. You don't want to unravel too far into the rose, but you do want to give it a nice fringe effect. I'm going to give it a little bit of a haircut at an angle to cut off those weird little really bent ends. So I want it to look neat and more intentional. Okay. All right, so now I have my rose with that fringy side to it. Okay. That's your main rose. Then we'll move on to the next component here. Okay, the next thing we're going to work on are the 2 roses that go in the back. They're actually not roses, they're just kind of little rose buds. We're going to take a length of that line. You don't need as much this time. You really only need about 2.5 feet. Double it, so you're working with about a foot total. You're going to tie a knot in the ends and then snip off that excess. What we're going to do is, again, we're going to fold this in half. I'm going to fold this in half. And we're going to start, this is a little bit different. We're going to start about 1 inch, 1.5 inches in. We're going to go through both of those halves, and we're going to begin weaving our needle at the edge there, back and forth. Going to scrunch it up on the needle. We're going to go back and forth, keeping that together, folded, back. You're just going to scrunch it up on the needle, a little bit challenging, I know. You're going to go back and forth. You see that? You're going to weave the edges together, back and forth, back and forth. You're creating a gather going back and forth on your needle. Okay, back and forth. I'm going to do one more. Here we go. And I'm going to leave about the same amount on this end as I did on the beginning. I'm not going to go all the way to the end. Hold on now. Hold on to all those folds and pleats. And you're going to pull the needle through. Okay? Then you're going to take the knotted end and the needle end. Don't let that knot go all the way through. And you're going to, if it'll cooperate, you're going to take both of these ends together and you're going to pull. I don't know if you can see that well, but what you're going to do is you're going to pull these all together. And so you've got the knotted end and you've got the needle end, and you've kind of gathered that together. Okay? So now you have this kind of little interesting thing. And I'm going to twist that upon itself a little bit. I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to twist it as I'm holding on to those 2 lines, both ends. I'm going to twist it on itself, okay? Keep pulling tight. Now I'm going to, so now I want it kind of circling around on itself, okay? Now I'm going to keep those lines pulled. I'm going to gather this together. Now it's challenging. Now I'm going to take the needle, hold on tight. I'm going to take the needle end, I'm going to pull through. I'm going to feed through that double to secure that knot. And we're going to do a bunch of stitches through all of these gathers, okay? So pull. We're going to go through all these gathers, make sure everything has gotten caught in that needle and thread. Okay. I'm going to hold on, I'm going to pull tight. Keep holding on, and now I'm going to wrap around. 1, hold tight. 2, 3, okay, so now I've got that end, and I'm going to feed through again. Several times, holding tight, making sure everything is secure, okay. Feed through again. Okay, if you want to, if you've got some line left there, straighten this out a little bit. If you've got some line left there, you can wrap around again. Just make sure that all the folds are in the stitching, okay? Wrap around a couple times again. I'm going to go through. Make sure everything is really, really secure. And through. Okay. And I'm going to go one more time if my line is long enough. Feed it through that last loop. Pull really, really tight, okay? All right, so now I'm at the end of that section, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue, a little bit of hot glue. Ran out of hot glue. Put a new stick in. A little bit of glue on that last section right there, okay? Make sure everything's stuck together. All right, and I'm going to cut off the excess close to the rosebud there. Okay, so now you have this little kind of cone rosebud type of design, okay? We're going to fringe these edges again. So we're going to just fringe. So pull on the edges. We're going to create that fringe again. That kind of feathery look fringe. Starting with the outside edge. Okay. And I'm going to go to the inside and do that as well. So you've got a nice fringe thing going there on both the inside and the outside. I'm just going to twist it around on itself again just to kind of give it a little more shape. Okay. All right, if there's any wonky pieces that look really, too bent or really unattractive on the end, just give them a little bit of a haircut. Neat them up a little bit. Just one there. Okay. So now we have our little fringy rosebud. Okay. We're going to do the exact same thing with the other 12-inch piece. So get your monofilament line ready on your needle, fold your ribbon in half, and then weave it back and forth. You can rewind if you need to do it again with that second piece, okay? Okay, this is very exciting. We have all of our components coming together for our Fascinator. So after repeating that same process on the second 12-inch length, you should have 2 of your fringy little rosebud contraptions, okay? Set those there. You should have your fabulous fringy little bow, okay? You should have your bigger rose, your main rose, and you should have your Fascinator base, which is the first thing we did, okay? So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces that you have now created, okay? I'm going to change gears a little bit, and we're going to add some feathers. So if you see in your little collection of feathers there should be a couple that are a little bit shorter, a little bit smaller than the others. So you want to take those little feathers, okay, and you're going to put them into the center of your rosebud. Okay, see how that looks? So what we're going to do is we're going to just take some glue, and I put it on the bottom of that feather. Doesn't need a lot because it's feather light, because it's a feather. And we're going to stick it in the center of, down the center of our little rosebud. Okay, so here you have your little rosebud with a feather in it. Okay, there it is. You can do the same thing with the other little rosebud. And take our little short feather, apply some glue to the base of it. And we're going to stick it down in there so it's nice and secure. Okay, there you go. So now you have your 2 rosebuds with feathers in the center. Aren't those cute? All right. All right, now this gets fun and exciting. We're going to take our Fascinator base. We're going to turn it to the side that's all messy, okay? Now we're going to use some more feathers here. I'm going to use these plain color feathers, and I'm going to do something called stripping the feathers. I'm going to take 3 of these, all right? And I'm going to strip off. I don't want the full length of the feather. So this is kind of weird, but I'm going to hang on. You want to make sure you don't snap the feather because they are a little bit delicate. And I'm going to start pulling the pieces of the feather off. So it creates, see what I've done there? Okay. So it creates just kind of a skinny stick, and I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I find it's easiest if you start at the bottom. They don't always want to come off easily, but you want to just pull those at the bottom. Okay. Pull, pull, pull until it's even with that other side that you just did. I'm just going to strip it down a little bit. Make sure it's all cleaned off. And see, now you have a little stripped feather versus the full feather. Kind of a cute little design. Now, we're going to do the same thing with another one. I'm going to pull, 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 pull. It's kind of neat there. Strip it off a little bit. Make sure all the fuzzies are gone. Okay, so now you have 2 stripped feathers. Okay. I'm going to do the 3rd one. This one's being stubborn. Let's start with the other side maybe. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Strip down. Get that all kneaded up. Make sure the sides are even. Okay, get all my mess out of the way. So now you have 3 of these cute little stripped feathers, okay? We're going to take the fabulous Fascinator, and whichever direction this thing wants to curve, so if it's curving down this way, you want to put the feathers, you're going to wear it like this, so you want to put the feathers here, okay? So I'm going to take my longest feather that I've stripped. I'm actually going to cut off some of that. I don't need that much length. I don't want it going up the back of the Fascinator, so I'm going to cut off that much, okay? I'm going to do that probably with all 3 of them. Okay. I'm going to take the biggest one, and I'm going to put it like right where the center of the Fascinator is, the back, and I'm going to pull it to the front. Okay. I'm going to put it right about here, right in the center front. Okay. I'm going to glue it. Right in the front. Okay. Like so. I'm going to take another feather, and I'm going to glue that next to it. So I'm going to put a bunch of glue on it. Okay. Like this. Okay. Put it a little bit to the right, kind of the other feather. Okay. So I've got 1, 2, and I'm going to do the last one. So the feathers are going to be off center. So the one's going to be pointing straight forward, and then the other 2 are going to kind of go off to the right a little bit. Okay. Make sure they're going off to the right. I want a little bit of asymmetry, a little bit asymmetrical in my design, okay? There's your feathers on there, okay? Now you're going to take some of your fancy feathers and you're going to glue them on too. So I'm just going to put one kind of in between this guy, okay? These two. I'm going to glue that on there. Okay, take another fancy one. I'm going to put it there as well. Okay, I'm just going to kind of go under, do it like this though. I'm going to go on a little bit of alternating style. I got some glue on that, that's not good. Okay, alrighty. So now you've got your fancy feathers and your straight feathers, and then this third one I'm going to glue so that it's backwards, so it kind of sticks up like that. You see that? I'm kind of covering up the other feather bases, okay? So I'm just going to glue, glue, glue. I can actually put the glue here too, I guess. And now I'm going to cover the other feathers with that. And in this one I want it to kind of stick up just a little bit, like that. Okay? So now all of our little feathers are glued on, and they're kind of veering off a little bit to one side. They're not directly in the center, and I want a little bit of asymmetry, like I said. Okay? Now I'm going to take my bow, I'm going to place that right in the center of the black circle. So I'll hold it up so you can see it. It's going to cover over those feather bases. Put the bow right in the center of the black circle. Okay? That's where I want that. And you want the short sides of the bow up, the long sides of the bow down. So make sure it's right in the center of your fascinator so that these edges kind of line up with the with the edges of the fascinator, okay? So I'm going to glue that, a lot of glue on that one, okay? A whole lot of glue. Okay. And I'm going to put that down right in the center so that things are matched up. Okay. Go under that layer and just hold that bottom layer down so it's really firm. Go under there and hold that bottom layer down to make sure that everybody's getting glued on really, really well. Okay, fold those down. If you need to add a little more glue, you know, make sure that it's secure. You don't want things falling apart. So you can add a little bit of glue here and there if you need to. Just make sure the glue is not seen in the final product. Okay, so now we have our bow and our ribbons on. We're going to take our big rose, okay, and we're going to lay it right over the center of the bow. And that fringy section, you can decide where you want that. If you want it going up, if you want it laying down. I kind of like it laying down and to the side, so it gives it a little bit of asymmetry, okay? So you're going to, before we do this, actually, I forgot to tell you, trim off this end, okay? Trim off this tail. Make sure you're not cutting into all those folds and things that you glued, but make sure that you trim that off so it's neat, okay? Now, we're going to decide where we want the placement of that. And we're going to put it right over the center of the bow. So we're going to glue the bottom of it. Lots and lots of glue. You can put some glue on the bottom of the bow or on the top of the bow if you want to. I'm going to set that right on there. Okay. So now we have our bow and our rose on the center top of the fascinator, okay? Righty. I want these feathers going a little bit more to the side. Okay, now you're going to take these cute little rose buds that you did in the back, and they have kind of a hard base on them because we didn't have a tail on this one. So what you want to do is figure out where you want them. I'm going to put one right at the back of the rose and another one at the back of the rose. Okay, and you want the feathers kind of going as best kind of decorative positions, and the fringes to kind of go in their best decorative positions. So I'm going to be laying mine like this. Okay, so I'm going to take that off. I'm going to do one at a time. I'm going to glue that base. I'm going to go all the way on that base. Put a whole lot of glue on there. I'm going to stick it on the back, making sure my fringe and my feathers are facing the direction that I want. I'm going to stick that on there like so. Make sure it's in there. Okay. I think I might, well, I'll wait on this one. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do another one, the other one. Make sure the fringes and the feather kind of go in the directions that I want them to. I'm going to glue the heck out of that one. Okay, so glue this base. Lots of glue. And then I'm going to stick it on to the felt just behind that rose, and I'm going to push them all together. Okay, I'm going to spin it around to make sure it's the way I want it to be before I go any further. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm going to just glue. Push. I'm going to add more glue so that all those roses are all kind of joined together. And everything's really firmly glued down. More glue. Okay. Okay. Got strings of glue going every which way now. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that those are super well attached. Okay. Here we go. All right, now the back looks a little messy because of the glue. You're not able to really see it, but I can see that it's got a little bit of messiness to it. So I'm going to take another feather, fancy feather, and I'm going to place that so it kind of covers up all of that messiness. Okay, and you may need to trim the feather to fit there. It's too long in my case. So I'm going to just trim off the bottom of that feather. And I'm going to put some glue on it. And I'm going to attach it to the back. Okay. And that is going to cover up all of that mess in the back, and it gives you an extra feather coming out the top there. Okay. All right, so there you have it. Our design is almost complete, but isn't that absolutely adorable? Alrighty, we're going to do the last couple of steps to complete our fascinator. Okay, we're going to flip it over, that messy side. We're going to take that other felt circle, okay, and we're going to put glue all over it on one side. Lots and lots of glue right up to the edges, and then we're going to cover up all that messiness. Okay, we're going to put that right on there. Going to be gentle in the way that we do it, but we have to make sure that it's firmly in place. So put your fingers inside and just give it a good firm push. Okay, so now we've covered up all that unattractive messiness. Okay, now we're going to take the clip, the hair clip, all right, and we're going to glue the flat side. Glue. Make sure lots of glue on there. Take that clip, and we're going to attach it to our fascinator. So what I do is I put the back of it towards the back, like that. Okay. There you go. You can put it sideways if you want to, or you can put it back to front. I just happen to put it back to front. Depends on how you want it attached in your hair. But I'm going to put it back to front, and I'm going to push really firmly and make sure that that is securely in place. And now, very exciting, we have a gorgeous, absolutely adorable, completed Fascinator. Isn't that a cute thing? Congratulations. You did it. You did it. It's absolutely beautiful. Now look, we've completed our Fascinator. Now you have your own fabulous Fascinator that you created with your own 2 hands. I hope you had a great time doing this project with me. Please check out our other craft kits and tutorials available at gramsroyalty.com. I'm Christy Graham with Grams Royalty. Bye till next time.